Welcome to Hidden Creatures, the Fat Podcast with father and son. I am Bo.
I am Rainey.
And he's the son. Are you going to say I'm the father? No.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm the dad. I'm the dad. He's the son in this duo. Today we're pretty excited. We have Wesley with us today. He is another person talking about the property and some interesting happenings out there. I hope you all have enjoyed this series so far. If you like what we are doing, I urge you to check out the Alabama Take. They are, I guess, our parent podcasting group. They have a bunch of different podcasts, everything from sports to pop culture, TV shows, stuff like that. I do another podcast over there as well called Punk Love and Compassion, where I talk with various people in the greater punk music scene. And then there's also a podcast on there about Star Wars I believe it's called I Am a Star War. But yeah, so I strongly recommend checking out sort of our family of podcasts over at Alabama Take. With that, a couple of side notes I say every time. Rainey and I we just started doing this because, we're into it. It's just a way for us to spend time together and get to know each other a little bit better, outside of our typical father-son role. It's just something for us to do together, spend some time together. We do not have a professional setup, so we do this in our house. And there are many things that go on in our house and outside of our house that you may hear. So one, we have 2 dogs. We also have 5 chickens. Where I record is at the back door. The chickens will often gather at the back door and peck and cluck. So that gets picked up sometimes. You might hear the dog barking. My wife and Rainey's mother is here as well. So sometimes you may get to hear her input. With that said, we're going to jump into Wesley. Like I said earlier, he has a bunch of stories from out at the property. We'll start with those and go anywhere else. Wesley, do you want to introduce yourself in any other way than my very small introduction of you?
I'm Wesley Harrison. Like Bo was saying, you might hear a chicken, you might hear a peacock or a turkey gobbling or ducks quacking back here. So just to let you know, I'm 39 years old. I've known Bo for a long time. He's a good dude, and he seems like he has a good son. There's no doubt about that. They look just alike. I'm so honored to be here on this podcast with them.
Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. So to get started, when I first mentioned this idea to you, I guess it was last fall, we were talking about like Bigfoot-esque type things.
Oh, yeah.
Any stories about that kind of stuff from out there?
I don't from the property or anything, but I have some, where I live.
Okay.
That's about the only thing I have. Me and my friend was coming back from band practice, and we saw something up on his hind legs running across the road in front of us here one night. But, I've had some weird stuff going on, but nothing about Bigfoot out there.
Okay. Well, then let's start with there. Then we'll get into other stuff.
Okay, cool.
Just start wherever you like, and Rainey and I will probably jump in with questions after.
I worked out there on the property for going on about 5 years or so, and got to meet Bo. He was the one who got me interviewed and everything. After he interviewed me, I didn't realize how great of a guy he was. And I worked nights, and I remember I had a guard check I would sit in, and the fog of the property, it would always come from the right of the guard check. It'd come across. Well, there wasn't no fog that night, but I got to see a white silhouette of something going to the side. We had a pool out there behind the gate of the pool, like the fence. It was going across like this right here, and it looked like just somebody walking. And it stopped right beside a light pole and just disappeared. I always felt like something was watching me anywhere I went in that place, certainly at night. We'd have to stay in the night here, things banging around up in the upstairs and stuff, and doors would open and slam sometimes by themselves. And it was just an eerie place. I think that place had honestly a lot of past in it. Nobody really knew about, in my opinion.
Yeah. And like the last episode, we talked with Travis, who worked out there, and we definitely made some guesses about its past.
I'll tell them what's happened out there. I'm sure like Indians has been on it, and nobody knows really what went on. It's probably been sold a bunch of times. It was always a weird feeling, certainly at night, some of the long walks I've had to take. It just felt like something was watching me or following me. I've had an episode where a deer, those time for them to start breeding and everything goes in rut. And there's 2 female deer, and that deer, I watched them, goes over here beside the pool again, and it shoot off them does it was with and started running at me. And that buck followed me all the way. I ended up cutting down one of the trails to go back to where I was. That buck was blowing and stomping around the whole time. So there's been some weird things happening out there.
Did you ever have any weird experiences near the sinkhole?
I told a certain boss of mine, the beer, that it was a meteor show that night. And I said, well, I'm going to go out here to the old, deck and everything. And I kind of ventured off and went out in the woods. I said, I'm going to take a break. So that's fine. Go for it. And I went out there and, it just, everything out there seemed more like it was more eerie than anything, in my opinion. The sinkhole, in my opinion, there's no telling how many animals has fell to their death, or you probably don't even know what's all out there inside that thing or what it was used for back in the day. So from what I hear, it goes down pretty good and it opens up. I've had some weird stuff happen out there.
Cool. Do you want to tell us like one or two of those stories?
I remember being out there for a certain reason with the job we did, and it just felt like something was just there with you the whole time. Like you was never alone. Like seemed like something kind of just brushed by you or something sometimes. I've always felt that. And I felt that I always at that property. I've been in the main room where everything was done, breakfast and everything. And I always would hear doors shut. They felt like something was always a step behind you or before you, if you get what I mean. So
yeah. So let's talk about that silhouette you saw that one time. Are there any defining characteristics about it?
When it looked just like somebody walking, but it was floating like I mean, you could see their seat moving and stuff like that. I mean, it kind of just drifted. And when it drifted or wherever and it kind of just stopped, it looked like it was kind of just looking over and seeing what was going on. And it just ended up, going away.
Gotcha.
I've seen a bobcat out there was acting weird before.
What was the bobcat doing?
Well, it went right out there to the same place that silhouette was at. It just looked around for a while, and I had to go check on the pool sometimes. They showed the pump was on stuff, and they showed the gate was locked. And I got from here to probably about 100, not far at all from it, when it finally just took off. Ended up scaring me to death. But yeah, I kind of let out a little dream probably. But, you don't usually get that close to a bobcat, So
No.
I've had all sorts of exotic animals, big cats and stuff, but in the wild, it's usually a bad thing when you get close to them. They're either sick or something's wrong.
Right.
And just catching you off guard. And I spoke easy. But.
Yeah. I know quite a few people out there saw silhouettes or figures, and it was typically one of a man, but he was wearing a hat. Did you ever see anybody wearing a hat out there?
I haven't. Well, I've heard many stories about it, but only thing I've ever heard was, like some of the people we work with, some of the individuals said they'd see stuff. But I mean, I always just heard footsteps or just the ambience of somebody was there or the deer or the silhouette or something like that. I've never really seen somebody in person, but I've been out there late at night going to the kitchen, getting yourself a snack, and the kitchen door or going out to the main room and slamming in front of me and stuff like that. It could have been the wind. There always is an explanation and everything, but I've heard steps go up top to the crow's nest, if you get what I'm saying, at the properties. So, I mean,
yeah,
there's always some weird stuff going on, but you can always say you can explain it or there's a cause of it, but I really don't know. One of the weirdest things that ever happened to me was probably whenever I had to do training, hands-on training with a guy out there, and ended up having to work the next day, and my training went down to 3 p.m. So I just went home and pretty much changed, and I got allowed to sleep on the clock, Our boss tells me to take a nap. So I went down to the basement and all the lights were off. So I grabbed a mat and lay down. I've heard all sorts of stuff up inside the school banging around and nobody's around, So I think there's something out there, as much history as that land's got in certain area. But I don't think it's nothing bad. I think it's just something wants to let you know it's there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's
I mean,
having a good time.
Yeah.
Learning the presence.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had experiences out there. Rainey has had experiences out there. I know other people had experiences out there as well, but I think I wasn't included in a lot of those conversations of just the weird things that went on. So early on, when I was a supervisor, I'd spend the night out there and support for other people. And I would frequently get calls on the radio about being a person leaning up against the light post that was there at the sinkhole.
Right.
And that person was typically wearing a hat. Most of the time they were wearing a cowboy hat. Sometimes they would be wearing like a top hat. So I'd get up and go and check and get down there, and there would never be anything there. There was another time I was just sleeping in one of the cabins and got a call on the radio, and the person was really upset at me because they were in the kitchen. And so they were calling me on the radio trying to catch the sound of the radio in the kitchen because they were convinced I was in the kitchen messing with them. And it was like, where are you at? I know you're in here. Like, what are you talking about? I'm over in the cabin. Like, no, you're not. You're in the kitchen. You're messing with me. I said, no, I'm asleep in the cabin. And like, well, you need to prove it. You need to come over here right now and prove it because you are in this kitchen and you're messing with me and you're, moving the pots and the pans and you're opening and closing the door. And so I walked over there and said, what's going on? And the person was like, oh, you really aren't in the kitchen. And they're like, we're gone. We're leaving this place right now. I'm not hungry. Don't need anything to eat. Like, we're done. We're done with this for the evening. Yeah. And like I said, they were convinced that I was in that kitchen messing with them. So what would you say do you remember like your first like weird thing that happened out there?
I'd say probably the first weird thing that happened to me was probably the incident up in the coals, dabbling on the computer, doing what part of my job would have to do. I mean, it took me a long time because I ain't good at a computer. I'm better at it now, but that's the most I've ever worked on a computer. I never did play computer games. So it generally took me a while. And I remember going through what I had to do and everything, and I heard the door slam downstairs and everything. I'm like, all right, well, somebody's coming up here, or whatever. And I waited. I never heard nobody. I even went downstairs to check in the kitchen. There was nobody in there. There was nobody around. It might have just been the wind, how things happen. We ended up like happening again, after about 30 minutes. But it sounded like somebody just took it and just slammed it completely.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'll just do the rest of what I have to do because I ain't like it. I got the heebie-jeebies that night. I was like, yeah, all right. I don't know what's worse, like taking the walk back where I had to go or leaving there. But sometimes you don't know what's going on. It still scares you,
Yes.
Somebody might have been out of bed that wasn't supposed to be out of bed.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, the first time ever like sort of witnessed somebody else having a weird experience out there was when I first started out there. So very, very, very early on. And when the supervisors called down on the radio and I said, hey, you need to, basically count the kids, make sure, the kids aren't out messing around. So counted them. Yep. They're all where they're supposed to be. He came back and said, you need to count them again because they're not. Counted them again. Yeah, they're all where they're supposed to be. He said, you don't need to just look for lumps in the bed. Like you need to make sure you're seeing kids because they are not all there. Went through again. I said, yep, I see everybody. I see their faces. Like, they are all where they are supposed to be. He said, I'm coming down there. Okay. So he came down. He said, yeah, they're all here. And stayed down there the rest of the night. He said, I'm not going back up there. Because at that point in time, the supervisors would sleep in the nurses' station at night. There was some bunks in there, so they would sleep in the nurses' station at night. And he said, yep, not going back.
Yeah.
And then as time progressed there, he wouldn't be the last one out of that building at night. He would make somebody else be the last one out, so they would turn all the lights off. He would not be the last one out at night. And he was an old military dude. But he was just, nope.
I would never got to that part. I didn't want to look like a sucker, but there's been a few times I was like, man, I dreaded going there at nights, man. It was weird. I say, between NPR, that walk and all that stuff, some of the other places in the woods would just give you kind of an energy, like there's energy there or something like, you know what I'm saying? It feels weird, You get a cold chill, like when you walk past a certain part or like, man, this place right here has a lot of energy. And it just, it kind of put chills up your spine. I don't know if it's just the vibe that place gives, but I bet y'all could probably relate. It just the whole place just had an eeriness to it. They had a whole lot bad energy, but not. I don't want to say it was bad, but it just made you. At night, I've been out there and I've had a bad pit in my stomach where it just made you feel uneasy. You know what I'm saying? But I think that ground holds energy out there. There's been a lot going on out there. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And other people feel that way as well. Like that, the property just has odd feeling about it.
It does.
it does.
Yeah. And like once you get off, it's like everything returns to feeling normal. But once you get on, it's just this oddness.
Yeah.
And I'm an odd person. I'm a weird dude. But man, that place is the way it gives off is even weirder. So I mean,
Yeah. So at night, did you ever hear or experience anything weird coming from that holler down where it was, like down below the guard shack there?
I'd always hear like owls, like certainly in their time season their peak, going back and forth. But I did hear some like stomping around, a few things like that. And I've heard the birds, like the day birds, that, I guess they get woke up and roost. They started chirping one night. But it sounded like something kind of big was down there. It didn't sound like a deer. It sounded kind of like something bigger,
Mhm.
But, I mean, I've heard some weird calls and everything. I've had to look them up and found out it was, that fox was always over there.
Yeah.
I got that fox's skull. You remember he got hit by a car? I got it on my shelf now. I got a skull over there behind that one.
Nice.
Yeah, I've heard some stomping around and stuff like that, and maybe some eerie stuff in the woods. But it sounded like something was moving, but it sounded bigger than a deer. You get what I'm saying? And if that guy's
Yes.
cows got out,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be like moving that fast. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. So on our first episode, I talked about like, what my first personal experience was out there, and it was at the guard shack.
oh yeah, I love that story.
And heard what sounded like male deer sound, and they're like huffing, right? Tried to spotlight it, nothing. Eventually, whatever it was came up and hit the back of that guard shack strong enough to shake it. And then it took off running through the woods. And it sounded like it was running on two legs.
Yeah, I don't.
And you know how solid that guard shack was. Like
Oh,
it would, and people were trying to tell me, oh, it was, a deer ran into the guard shack or, and deer don't run into things, right? Or, or like,
it'll be out there. I'll look at it.
or like an owl hit the back of it. And it's, like I don't know what it was. I don't know what made that noise. I've never heard that noise since, but it would have had to have been a big, big creature to hit that shack hard enough to make it shake.
I tell you what, I would have finger painted my blue jeans if I'd have been in that guard shack. That would have scared me to death. Certainly been out there in the wilderness,
Yeah.
like that, just hearing that random night. What else is out there big enough to do that? You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I can't think of a logical creature that would be out there big enough to do that.
Man, maybe a wild pig, but I mean, they're low to the ground. I mean,
Right.
you would have hit it and
Right, and
probably
this was-
hit the floor or something, but maybe a big
Right, and this was-
an armadillo or something. There's a bunch of those. out
Maybe. Yeah. But this was high. I mean, it was right below that back window. So it was probably, 6 or 7 feet off the ground.
there. Oh yeah,
That
definitely.
guy hit,
That's some scary stuff right there. I remember the first time you told me this story, and I was like, man, what'd you do after it hit? What'd you do? Just go outside and look for it?
Yeah, well, we had a big spotlight at the time. So I got out and tried to hit it with spotlight, and I could hear it, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't catch it on the spotlight. I could hear it going through the woods. I could hear it yelling, screaming, whatever it was doing, but I couldn't get a light on it. I tried to spotlight it, but no luck.
I remember a certain stuff told me what there. He heard something sound like a dying rabbit, and he shined one of them spotlights, and it'll end up being a mountain lion.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard about that? He said he saw a rabbit.
I did.
Man, you know who I'm talking about. I every once in a while holler him, see how he's done, and everything. But if you could see a mountain light in the spotlight, you sure could have seen that. You know what I'm saying? Then what was going on? So there has been some weird stuff going on out there.
Right. Do you have any other stories from out there that you want to share?
I really don't have nothing else besides what I've mentioned and everything.
Okay.
I was meeting a bunch of great people, meeting you and all the people I've met. I miss it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I miss it. I work a job now. And it beats me to death. It does. And I wish it never would have ended, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm glad I got the opportunity to meet all y'all and do what I did. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah,
place
well,
right there,
thank you. I appreciate that.
I remember the first time I met you, man, I thought, man, you was a good dude from the start, always. And whenever I was there, you're always there to lend an ear when I need some help or something. I appreciate that. And your son, he
Oh,
seems like a
thank you.
very cool person too, man. It's been a cool experience talking to you and everything, man.
Yeah.
But
Well,
other than the weird stuff I mentioned, I really had nothing, nothing real crazy
gotcha.
like it. But
Okay.
that's weird enough for me. So
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, that's probably weird enough for a lot of people. Well, if you don't mind, let's talk about that like two-legged thing that y'all saw coming home that night.
all right, I went and sang karaoke with my buddy, my roommate, and we ended up, coming back and everything. And where I live at, it's the sticks. I mean, I live on 13 acres of property. I mean, there's one house around, but I live on a dead end street and I got creeks and stuff. I love it. But I went far from my house and everything, and we were about to top a hill. There was something right beside the sign, and it had two big old eyes. And the thing, by the time we went down the hill, it ran. It got down on all fours and ran. And I have no idea what it was. I've got
Do
pictures
you
of
remember?
the what now?
Do you remember what color eyes it had?
Red. I mean, I've never seen nothing like it. And I looked at my roommate and I said, dude, did you see what I see? And they said, yeah. I said, all right, because if I'd have been by myself, nobody would have believed me.
Tall was it?
It was, I mean, every bit tall as a sign, like street sign, but maybe a little taller. They had like a narrow body. It might have been a big deer or something standing up, but it was nothing I've ever seen. I mean, deer don't look like it or behave like it. So
Do you remember what color it was?
black. I really didn't get it. I mean, all I saw was a black plane come down like a shit and run. I'd have been Black Panther.
It could have been. Well, yeah, because I mean, you're familiar with the Alabama white thing, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes. So it wasn't white. So it wasn't an Alabama white thing.
No,
No.
it
Okay.
wasn't.
Have you ever heard of the Dog Man?
Yes, and I listen to the Dogman Encounters podcast a lot when I'm cleaning or doing something. And I love that channel, man. I'll put it on YouTube and everything, man. I love it. Yeah,
Do you think it could have been a dog? Do you think it could have been a Dog Man?
it very well could have been. I'm gonna tell you this: a lot of people say, "Do you believe in this?" I believe in everything. I really don't know. I don't believe in the tooth fairy and stuff like that. But I mean, you never know what's out there living in these woods out here, or what comes through you don't see. I mean, with Bigfoot, there's so much proof that Bigfoot exists. How can you not be real? I look at people.
got
I mean, there's got to be something more out there than what we know. I don't know. I have a buddy that deer hunts behind my house, and he's got a trail camera. And he caught the silhouette of a woman, and she's holding her hand on the tree and everything. She's wearing a dress and everything. I have to show it to you sometime, man. It's pretty cool. And the deer
Please do.
looking at it and everything, like creeped out by it.
Yeah, if you could email that to me, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, we
definitely.
could like put it on our Instagram finally or
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Whatever
It's
we
something
have.
else.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, so would I.
For me personally, it's weird. I've had these experiences that I cannot explain at all. There's no logical explanation for some of these experiences I've had. A couple things happened over the Smokies. Some other weird things have happened. But it's weird, but I'm still on the fence about believing, but at the same time, I know there's no logical scientific explanation for what I've experienced.
I want to tell you this. I wish there had been a camera outside that yard shack to see where it was coming at you. Because, I mean, you probably still wonder what in the world that was.
Yeah.
If I'd have been there with you, there'd probably been another door. Because I probably would have jumped through the window. And I know I ain't going to fit through a window.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about it. You see these things or some kind of weird thing happens. Everybody always wonders what it is, or there's no explanation. You just go by. I guess seeing is believing, but the same way with aliens, we're so much out there, how can we be the only thing? But I think out in the woods around here, certainly around the Appalachians, we're on the tip of it,
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that happens. These wooded areas or where you live. You've traveled around, you've been in Bigfoot country and stuff. Probably your son has traveled with you. So you've probably seen some out there where just nothing is. I mean, nothing untouched. Nobody goes around. What's all living out there? You never know. And sometimes I think it kind of just creeps up and bites us sometimes and lets us know it's there.
Oh, definitely. Well, and even in the woods, North Alabama, tramped through quite a bit, sort of in the area around the property. I would often find like trees bent in, again, non-natural ways.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Um,
big trees. Like a man couldn't do it, or a deer couldn't run into it or do it. Yeah,
right.
I've been in Georgia
Uh,
and saying that.
Almost like piles of logs and sticks that could almost be arranged in a way that could be a structure of some kind.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but like a very rudimentary structure. So it's like that is almost like a TP that looks like it was made by something, but I don't know what would have made it. Yeah, I mean there's definitely things in the woods that we don't understand.
I've been in the woods a bunch of times and I've seen just about everything. I've got snakes and all this stuff. But I think there's stuff out there we don't know about. I know there is. There's been times I'm one of these people who don't like I'm all about energy, I don't think it's a good thing to go outside and whistle at night after midnight. That's just been my thing. It's like, the witching hour and stuff like that. That's when most of the bad stuff happens, in my opinion. This house I'm living in, we got a big door knocker. And me and my landlord was sitting here at my bar one time, was hanging out, and that door knocker rattled. So the landlord went up there and said, "Man, somebody's outside." He went nobody there. It did it 4 times, and I've been there in the bed before and hear the thing rattle. It ain't the wind because nothing can pick it up, but where the door is, I built a sunroom around it. So it ain't one of the chickens or dog jumped up on it. So, there's always some weird stuff that happens around here.
Yeah.
So either me trying to sing in the shower or
Definitely. Anything else? So have you have anything else sort of weird stuff like that happen that you want to talk about? Or
the only weird thing that's really happened to mention is my mom passed away. I was young. I was about 14 years old. I remember going and watching her pass away. And it was a traumatic experience. And I went to bed that night and I woke myself up crying. I swore up. I smelled my mom's perfume all of a sudden out of the blue. I remember feeling comfort. I remember I went back to bed, but I believe that was my mom saying goodbye to me or something. She was such a bad shape, couldn't speak to me when I saw her. But I kind of feel like that was about the realest thing I've had towards a ghost. So I mean, I believe that was real.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you ever think of something else, or if you run into anybody else from out there who has a good story,
oh yeah, definitely. I got plenty of
send them our direction. Yeah, because we're looking for also. We have couple of people we're trying to work on come on with night hag stories.
Oh yeah, that'll be good.
So we're working on them to come on, just trying to figure things out. Yeah, I mean we've got quite a few. Like I said, we're looking for cryptid stuff. We're looking for paranormal, alien, fairy.
Man, Skinwalker, the rape.
Yeah.
Oh man, I watched some of them rape videos. Oh yeah, I watched Nukes and Slap Ham, where they show them videos of all that stuff, man. If you don't know about Nukes, man, they're awesome. They show a bunch of crazy stuff, but I love talking about this kind of stuff because a lot of people they don't want to talk about it and stuff, but I find it very interesting talking about stuff like this.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, just get those stories out there, because I think a lot of time, when people share these stories, it's like, oh, you're making this up, or you're lying, or whatever. But the people, everybody we've interviewed so far has been somebody I've known directly, and I know they're not making up. I know they've experienced something.
I've had some stuff right there happen, man. That's weird. I told you about.
Yeah.
I believe you what you say, because I've had weird stuff. There's always been somebody that's come on and said, man, I've seen this and that, but I guarantee you, if you put like a way to see something out there, or like a ghost hunting team out there, you could probably catch up some stuff,
Yeah.
No, I mean, definitely. I'm up in.
Yeah. I had to go out there a couple weeks ago and spend like a decent amount of time out there, just, cleaning things up, getting things in order. And the longer that property goes with nobody on it,
the worse it gets.
Yeah, the whole time it was like I knew I was the only one there, but
it felt like somebody else was there watching you. Or
heavy. I mean, multiple times. Like I would stop what I'm doing and looking around and, and take a good long look around. Cause I mean, yeah, I was sure somebody else was there, but I knew nobody was there.
You're there in the pitch at night and you'd be the only one around. And I'd stop what I was doing a lot of times. Like I'd go outside. All right, just felt like a set of uneasiness, something's watching you or expecting somebody to come through the door at any time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And nobody's coming through the door. Watch wherever it is. I hope it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. I mean, that place holds a lot. I bet now it's something. I bet the deer, them deer always acted weird because I guess, nobody would touch them. They knew they couldn't be bothered, but man, that's just a weird vibe out there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, okay, my friend, we'll go ahead and let you go. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
I have enjoyed this. I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm telling you what, I love y'all, man. I'd love to be a part of this again. Man, I appreciate you and I appreciate your son, man. I appreciate everything, man. And I've got some buddies. I'm sure they've got some stories they could tell.
Yeah, please.
Man, if you're down, maybe we can all hook up and we can do this again. I'll introduce you to them. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much, both of y'all.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to speak to your buddies. And like I said, if you think of more stories, I'd love to have you back on.
All right. I'm down.
Okay, so with that, we're going to sign off for this episode. Thank you again, my friend.
Thank you.
For everybody else, if you want to reach out, if you have some stories you want to share, if you want to come on, talk to us on Instagram, we're at McFap, MCFAP_podcast, or shoot us an email at McFapPodcast@gmail.com. Until next time.
Don't be like the squonk.
And don't pee in fairy circles. Y'all have a great day.